Welcome back. You're watching a special broadcast on India's 79th Independence Day, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi delivered a visionary address, and as always it was very passionately delivered. It was forward looking, and he kept the goal of making India Viksit, that is developed, by 2047 when India achieves 100 years of its independence, as the main goal of his Independence Day address. He urged everyone in India, all Indians, to make that goal possible through self-reliance in each sector. So that was the main thrust of Prime Minister's address on India's Independence Day.
Yes, and this applied to several sectors, and we'll be talking about that as well. But let's tell you what really happened through the course of the day. Well, Prime Minister Modi hoisted the tricolour at the Red Fort as the nation marked the celebration of the 79th Independence Day. Flying Officer Rashika Sharma assisted the Prime Minister in hoisting the flag, after which flower petals were showered from two Mi-17 helicopters of the Indian Air Force, one carrying the national flag and the other Operation Sindoor flag.
Wing Commander Vinay Punia and Wing Commander Aditya Jaiswal piloted the aircraft. PM Modi was received at the Red Fort by Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, Minister of State in Defence Sanjay Seth, and chiefs of the three services.
The Prime Minister also received the ceremonial guard of honour by the National Flag Guard, the Indian Air Force, Army, Navy and the Delhi Police, totalling up to 128 personnel. Wing Commander Arun Nagar led the Inter-Services Guard of Honour. A total of 2,500 cadets from the Army, Navy and the Air Force, along with My Bharat volunteers, were seated at Gyanpath opposite the ramparts of the Red Fort, forming the Naya Bharat logo.
And joining us now for perspective is senior journalist Ashok Tandon. Mr. Tandon, welcome to DD India. A very happy Independence Day to you. What are your first thoughts after hearing Prime Minister Narendra Modi's Independence Day address?
Yeah, I think it was a visionary statement from a leader who is leading from the front, and he outlined his vision in various sectors, as you are also very rightly mentioning, to make India a Viksit Bharat by 2047 and make it self-reliant in every sector or segment of our life. But I think if I start with the first major takeaway, it was a message to people across the border, and the kind of cyber rattling they have been making, their leaders or the General Munir has been making. So the Prime Minister gave a very befitting response to that. And he said, India is not going to be cowed down by the nuclear blackmail. That is very clear. Therefore, I think to begin with, and then he also mentioned about the Indus Water Treaty. He said it has been one-sided, it has been to the disadvantage of India, and therefore, and he said the blood and water cannot flow together. So I think to begin with, mentioning what, people from across the border have been talking about was a good response. And in that context, he said, we have already demonstrated our strength through the Operation Sindoor. And we have achieved our targets. And therefore, now our armed forces have been given a free hand. It is for our armed forces to decide the timing, to decide the strategy, and also the way they want to respond to any threat coming to India's security. I think that message to people on the other side of the border, they must understand this, that this is the Prime Minister who will not be cowed down by the kind of threat they have been making. So I think that was the beginning of it. So then he talked a lot of, as you have also talked about the Sudarshan Chakra, about the security aspect. So security, different kinds of security, whether it's a food security, whether it is a social security, whether it's an economic security, or whether it is defense security. All these things were gradually, one by one, mentioned by the Prime Minister, and several missions have also been announced to fulfill the dream of Viksit Bharat and a self-reliant Bharat. I think to begin with, if I may start with the semiconductor, it's a very important thing which the Prime Minister mentioned. So semiconductor, India is going to be self-reliant, and India, made in India kit will be very soon available in the market as far as semiconductors are concerned. He said for decades, nobody even bothered about certain fields like energy, and now we are having nuclear energy. Our focus is on nuclear energy, and by 2047, our nuclear energy also will be enhanced by 10 times. So reforms in nuclear energy and the global warming. So number of issues which the Prime Minister touched upon. Then he also talked about the ocean exploration mission, ocean oil exploration mission, which India is going to do. Then the National Deep Water Exploration Mission, all these things, and the critical minerals mission, national critical mission for space. Also, Prime Minister gave details about how our space sector is now coming to an end, and Gaganyaan will now be, and then India also, is going to shortly have its own, space center. So these are developmental issues also. And then one by one, the Prime Minister, talked about various achievements in the last 11 years. And then we can go on and talk about the economic and IT era, cyber security, our UPI platform. Then he talked about fertilizers, how, we are dependent for fertilizer on foreign countries. Now we will have to develop our own fertilizer system, and he has invited the private sector also to come forward and do the needful in making India a fertilizer self-reliant.
Yes, he also talked about double bonanza really for the people. One is the next generation GST reforms and the other is the employment scheme. Mr. Tandon, what do you make of those two prospects that would be very close to every common person's heart?
See, I think he, in that context, also talked about women's self-help groups, if you remember that. And then he, Lakpati Didi, 3 crore target, 2 crore Lakpati Didi, already the target has been achieved.
Yes, Mr. Tandon, he was speaking of two key announcements. One, of course, is to incentivize youth to take employment and companies to give employment. So it's a double incentive scheme that is meant for employment, which the Prime Minister announced today. And he said that this is being launched from today itself. And on GST, he said that many products now will become far cheaper because the tax is now going to go down.
Yes,
and that is expected by Diwali.
Yeah.
So that he is calling second generation GST reform. So do you think that these are two big announcements in the Prime Minister's address, which are going to be very people centric, which are going to help the common man, especially the youth, in the case of employment?
Certainly, he said that Diwali gift which is going to be made for the people of India will be a new generation GST reforms. So number of schemes were announced, but you have very rightly said that the Diwali gift will be tax reforms have been made, and it's going to benefit the people. And he talked about the, our foreign exchange are strong, our micro economy. Then the global rating also is now being improved by the rating agencies. And as you said, 1 lakh, scheme for youth, PM Viksit Bharat Rozgar Yojana. And in that, you also very rightly mentioned, the private sector is now being roped into it, and 15,000 rupees will be given. And the private sector, which will generate employment, will be given incentives. So that also, and 3.5 crore youth employment opportunities for youth are going to be generated. And women empowerment, we have already talked about. Lakpati Didi. He also talked about the farmers. role
Yes,
of farmer.
we will come to that. A very significant point, in fact, he made on farmers, saying that as far as the interests of farmers, the dairy farmers as well as the poultry farmers are concerned, and farmers in general and fishermen are concerned, he will stand as a rock if their interests were to be sought to be compromised by any power. It was seemingly an indirect reference to the United States and the trade negotiations between India and the US. We'll take that up in a bit. Let's now go across to Vishal Baristo, a correspondent who's joining us from Red Fort. Vishal, take us through the colors there. And we saw the Prime Minister having personal interactions with the children and NCC cadets and shaking hands and waving his hands to all those present there. Just how is Red Fort looking, and what are the kind of reactions that you are getting from there?
Well, first of all, a very happy independence to you and to all our viewers here at the Red Fort. The mood is absolutely there's a lot of happiness, there's a lot of excitement, there's a lot of jubilation. I'm surrounded by these NCC cadets. They just had a picture with the Prime Minister, and the Prime Minister has asked them to take a pledge to make India a prosperous nation. He said that I'm with you and I want the support of the youth of this country. Let's talk to some of them and find out if anybody can speak. Yeah. So how's the Josh?
Very nice, sir. I felt very inspiring after the words of PM Modi, the way he said for unemployers and the women. Like, it felt like the government of India and the authority of India is really recognizing the things that should be recognized. And that was truly inspiring. It's a new experience for all of us. Us cadets are really hardworking for 15 days. And today we give our best conduct. And I wish that PM Modi also felt good after our conduct, and we also felt really heartwarming from his words and from him after meeting him.
The Prime Minister made special mention about Operation Sindoor, and you being an NCC cadet, how's the feeling and how's the Josh, and what do you have to say about our forces?
Our forces are doing a really very great job, and the whatever content sir mentioned, Prime Minister sir mentioned, that was really the voice of our soul. That was the really voice of our nation. What we all together wanted, and being part of NSS, not us but you, but all of us. It was for the community. The way we are together, the integrated, the heritage that is glorified. This Red Fort and being part of this very historic moment is very, very, very heartful, and it is very overwhelming to be part of this, and very, very grateful to be here, and to Prime Minister Modi, sir. Yeah.
So there you heard, the mood is absolutely jubilant and overwhelming, and why not? The Prime Minister has asked the youth of the country to come forward. He also spoke at length about Operation Sindoor and why India needs to stand united, and also said that India will not be cowed down by any warning of or blackmail of nuclear attack. It was a clear warning to Pakistan across the border, and he said that he has given full freedom to our defense forces, and the success of Operation Sindoor is a witness to the self-reliance and all the efforts that have been made during the last 10 years. So here you see these children, they are so very excited, and one more cadet wants to talk. So what did you get from the Prime Minister's speech?
I get about the independency nature of our country in the near future. Pradhan Mantri clearly talks about Atmanirbharta, and he has bold words regarding it, that in the near future we are going to become independent in every aspect, not in defense only, but in economy, in trade, in manufacturing, and in every sense. So for today, the very motto is the independency, and I feel very proud being part of this event.
Yes, and you being an NCC cadet, would you like to join Indian Armed Forces? Because you said that the Armed Forces are also open to women power now.
Sir, I have already been a defense aspirant, and I have given ND exams twice a time. And joining NCC, my motto is actually to join the defense in the near future.
So there you hear the climate, the weather is changing. Now it has started pouring. But let me tell you that the Josh is absolutely high, and they are also very excited. Back to the studio.
Thank you, Vishal. Quite fortuitous that it's only started raining now once that celebration at the Red Fort is winding up. Thank you for joining us with those children, the NCC cadets and others who were an enthusiastic part of today's Independence Day celebrations. On this note, we'll have to wind up this particular segment of our programming. Ashok Tandon, thank you so much for joining us and talking about the Prime Minister's speech as well, sort of looking into its different aspects as to how he has laid out a path for India's progress in the coming years, building up to a Naya Bharat and a developed nation by 2047. Thank you.
Absolutely. With the resolve to make India developed by 2047, we take your leave. Namaskar.